Hi everybody, we're here with a new settlement tour and this is my second stab at the castle. This video has a lot of new content, but it also has some repeated content. In the chapter tags below I will note new content with an asterisk, so if you've seen the old content before you can just skip around. However, please do feel free to watch the whole thing either way. At one point I started to get crashes, and this applied to deconstructing things as well as constructing things. So I just had to leave some of the old buildings in place instead of tearing them down. But here we have our front caravan area, and I tried to do a bit of camouflaging with these. They can be a bit repetitive if you have a lot of them, but they are useful because I like to get the specialized traders into the settlements. I also made a point to put the caravan posts outside of the castle because the cows can be extremely annoying. That being said, we still ended up with cows inside of the settlement, as you will see. We tried to make it look like they were repurposing as many things as they could, and as each caravaner came and left, they always left items behind. So here's our front entrance using a stairway method I repurposed from Tango and Caps. We actually have another one of those later. We repurposed the duct system from the Mechanist workshops and some of the poles from the Nuka DLC to make something that had a little bit of a new flair. The lettering didn't come through, but I left it anyway to make it look like they were broken. And here we have a bit of a traffic jam in the entrance. So let's quickly use a turret to move that cow out of the way and move on. This is our checkpoint area. It is functional. The settler will get up in there. We got our cameras and our searchlight. Here's some more of those signs on the pole I like to repurpose for a lot of different things. Those things are really great. And here's some novel things that the settlers decided they wanted to do. Some repurposing. I do like to combine different fence pieces to give different textures. You can experiment with those. You can get some really cool results. So now we are going to swing around here to our new and improved armory. In here we did a lot of cluttering and organizing so that the settlers would have everything they need to carry on the fight. So with cluttering, a couple things that I like to do. First, you got to get things on the ground, on the floor. If you've ever worked in retail, you'll know that people just come by and sort of drop things anywhere. That goes for restaurants too. So people do leave things on the floor. They leave them any old place. It's always nice to include a couple of random things from other places in the settlement. Someone may have wandered through and just dropped it where they felt like. It's also a good tactic to put items on top of items. So a coffee cup on top of a book, or a pen on top of a container. It gives a feeling of verisimilitude. Here's some more of those poles. We'll do a night tour later. This was the original power station. I couldn't do a lot of cluttering here. No matter what I did, the cows would come in and knock everything over. I gave up. I did leave this system here with the logic gates. If a power station goes down, then we get a red light. Green lights mean everything is working. Very simple. The surgery center over here is also left over. Like I mentioned before, at one point I had to stop replenishing my resource bar. The game started to crash, and that went for deconstructing items as well. The game did not like me to delete either of these two buildings, so someday I'll have to make more of a concerted effort. But they serve their purpose. So here's our park area. And here's some cluttering fun in here. There might be 1,000 items in here. Everything that they could need to do some repairs. Those traps make nice props as well. You gotta get items under tables. Real people would scooch things under there. It's just a workshop, but I spent a lot of time on it. I have fun with it. Now we'll go around here to the tower area and go up to the top. I had these filled up with cool things, but the cows once again tend to come in here and knock everything over, so we will just have to use our imagination. We've got Radio Freedom with its own office now. I like little signs like this to add some realism. All of this up here is also the same. Like I said, I stopped tempting the gods of crashing. But we do have a jail. Half decent accommodations, really, compared to most of the Commonwealth. And we have our guard stations at the very top. We get some really good views. That's one of our new additions over there. We have our governor's mansion and the theater. We have some player dwellings on both sides up here. They have some really good views of Boston. We had a couple of views of the agricultural area here. I'm not going to go over there at all. It was just to cover up all of the rubble in that corner. Now we can finally go inside and take a look at some of these shops. Here we have our cafeteria. There were some interesting things in here I tried not to delete, like these fridges. Oh, there are actually some sodas missing. The flipped over table here, it looked too cool to get rid of. And it looks like our settlers just dumped our donuts over. They didn't even care. Alright. Close our gate and get caught by the gate. Rude. Alright, the next thing we have our bathroom. And that mirror method, I believe I just got from School Zone a long time ago. And I turned each of these recessed areas into stores. I really like these wire mesh walls that came with the settlement and ambush kit, settlement security, creation club. I just think they look awesome. Our pharmacist is not in yet. We got signs on the wall to try to help us get through this maze. Got a stage area that was also meant to cover up some rubble. And I also had that decorated. Settlers knocked it all off. Maybe a cow got in. Here, another cow. I had this a lot better. At some point, you just have to give up. And for some reason, no matter what I do, the cows like to still come into the settlement and walk around, squeeze themselves into these stalls. We got crazy clothes. This was supposed to have a Hot Topic kind of a feel. Do those still exist? Do malls still exist? I haven't been to one in such a very long time. We've got our eye care. You have a wide selection. Get your exam. This is supposed to mimic the feel of a mall. Over here we have a gym. Get cleaned off. Got TVs in the wall, so settlers can watch nothing much, really. Here we have a kennel. I got that idea from a really cool animal shelter idea that she made at the Boston airport. Here is our theater area. They can give plays, or bands can play when they come through. This venue is a lot better than many of the venues I used to play. I will tell you that. Although I did play some good ones, like Hard Rock and House of Blues. Just a couple times. Mostly it was old auto mechanic shops, or who knew what they were. Squatter settlements. Did anyone catch the reference in there from 80s movies? Let me know if you did. Here's an upstairs view. Let's see what our guard post looks like from the other side. Got a great view all the way down. This was my Tango and Caps style stairway from the other side, and here is a new addition. This is called Ben's Engines, and it is made using the wind-powered generators turned into buildings. And we use these missile cases, I guess they are. And he sells generators and does small engine repairs. Ben, of course, is a robot over there. Who would know more? I really wanted to do something with these windmills. I might use them again in a future settlement. Maybe connect them, make a longer rectangular building. Here are some living arrangements. There's one for rent there. It looks great. These over here are a little more expensive, probably. They have a view of the water purifiers, which really ups the resale value. And I think they'd probably have, yeah, that's a good view. Got the Pridwine out there. All right. Before we move on, I did want to show you my attempt at Tango's wall stairs. He likes to do these really long, narrow stairways along the walls. And we used the raider poles instead of stacking scaffolding. And I have to say, it looks really cool. So I wanted to give it a shot. I really like the way it turned out. And now we will take a look at the governor's mansion. This was really meant to contrast with the rest of the settlement. It'll either function as my player home or the governor. It's even got a shower. And all the good stuff. And good views out there of the settlement. And now we'll go take a look at the little bar area on top. We've got some wire fences here. Let's check out where the people of means hang out. Got a little VIP area. And a great view of the plebes as we sip cocktails. And now we can take a look at some of this at night. After the drinks, we gotta stumble home, which I may or may not have done at different points in my life. Here is the theater at night. It's jamming, we're ready. We're ready for the opening band, which nobody will watch. Ask me how I know. And we'll do a quick run around here before we get out of here. I mentioned my light poles at the beginning from the Nuka menu. They work really well with the cycle lights. And here's where the caravanners are supposed to hang out. It actually looks quite nice down there. And Ben is still at work at this late hour. I guess he doesn't really have to sleep. Maybe he loves his work. All right. Everybody's in for the evening. An unrealistic jump. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. I appreciate you hanging out and watching the whole video. Let's take another peek at our Clutter Kingdom at night. Glorious clutter, organized chaos. Whoever works there knows where everything is. Don't move a thing. All right. Thank you very much for stopping by. We'll walk out with the caravanners and leave you with the opening to the castle.